Hey, what's up? Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. This live stream is about me ordering a new phone. So I have an iPhone 6 and I've had this iPhone 6 for several, well, not several years. I've had it for 30 months. So I'm with AT&T and yeah, I've had this phone for a pretty long time and it's been fine. I said I was going to, keep it for till it dies, but it is pretty tough to use. I have to say it's really, really slowed down with the last OS update. That kind of tends to happen. I've noticed it with other iPhones in the past. And I just couldn't take it anymore. So it happened yesterday when I went out for a walk. And when I came back to so I see we have Dennis and Dave on. They're telling me to get an Android. I knew I was going to hear about this as well, and I got to say, it looks like a great option. I'll talk a little about the Android option I considered, but only after I already ordered my phone, so it was kind of pointless. So I went out for a walk with my new dog Georgie. If you're interested in seeing the first time Georgie has been on the live stream, it was yesterday. So we have Success Roller Coaster on too. Yeah, give me a shout if you're watching. Let me know, are you Android people or iPhone or some other phone? If there's another type, maybe like flip phones, something like that. For a minute, I thought about getting like an old school flip phone too, just to use it as a phone. That would be totally different. But anyway, so went out for a walk. I think I made one phone call for a few minutes. And then when I got back, it was like, 11 a.m. My phone was charged at like 100% for like when I left. And it was like 28% when I got back. And I realize it's probably, right? It's probably like apps running in the background, probably some kind of location service running in the background, but I'm not sure what it is. And I try to, shut them down. I'm sure it would be fine if I just, stuck with it, but I basically quit all the apps this morning before I went out on the walk. I checked a couple emails. I maybe just very light activity. So much better today. We're at 68%. So potentially it was like the phone call that I made the other day, but it turned out that, this phone is fairly old. Like I said, I've had it for about 30 months or so. And I know that because I was in the AT&T Next program where you pay installments, which it was kind of weird. I actually prefer to buy my phone outright and then just make payments for the service. But it ends up being the same price if you keep it for 30 months. And that's the thing. I believe they expect most people to upgrade like earlier. So typically I would have upgraded my phone at about 2 years in or so. And here I've kept it a little bit longer than that. So I guess that's what they thought was going to happen. So we have Utah, what's up? And David says he uses Android. Imran uses Android, and Nick's iOS. People say the iPhone 10 is overpriced. Yeah, probably is. So here's the other phone that, like, after I was considering the 8 Plus, right? So I'm in the Apple ecosystem, and I don't have a ton of apps that I paid for, but I have a few in hindsight, right? Like I could have purchased a Samsung S8, I think is the phone that's sort of comparable. I could have purchased that, upgraded the memory with like a micro SD card, and bought every app that I ever wanted, and it would still probably be less than an iPhone 10. So, you know, it's it's interesting to note. One of the reasons I got it is for live streams and stuff. So I've been struggling like using my phone for live streams. It's a little slow and it's very convenient to have like a phone that'll work. Now, sure, I'm certain the Android comparable devices can do what I need them to do. However, I was impressed with like the camera offering on the iPhone 10. So I think, it's the new iteration of the iPhone. It's going to be more expensive. Like it's a premium brand. Like they know people will pay it. That's why it's so expensive. However, I will say I'm pretty sure the camera setup on the iPhone 10, it's pretty good. The slow-mo capability is really awesome. That's something I could probably use with Georgie. Really practical, right? I can record my dog in super slow motion. I think it'll do something like 240 frames a second, which is like pretty amazing for a phone. So Dennis says you upgrade every 24 months. So that's cool. David mentions or asked, do I work on a Mac? I do. I have a Mac. How about you, Dave? Or David, sorry. Success roller coaster. It mentioned something about Amazon Associates and da 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 da. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure the answer to that question, but you could. Sounds like you can. Are you a student success roller coaster? I'm not sure who you are. And then Nick mentions, or David also says, check out the OnePlus 5T. Okay, so people can check on that. Nick says, when you compare the iPhone 10 to the Galaxy 8 Plus, it's not that much more expensive, maybe like $100 more. Interesting. Yeah, just it happened to be the YouTube video that popped up when I was taking a look at like iPhone 10 videos. So it was like I said, the S8, the Samsung S8. And David says, you're a PC guy. I don't even know how to use a Mac. See, the thing is, I used to like, I think I've used a Mac since like 2007 or so. And maybe a tiny bit in college. The computer labs had Macs in there, and usually there wasn't a line. So I was like, oh, you know what? Like I'll just use those. I just need to check a couple things. Most of the time I was like logging on to like a terminal on one of the Unix servers, and I was doing whatever coding or it didn't matter what I was using. I just needed a keyboard and a screen. So I would use the Macs there. The point being is with my corporate job, I used to have a Lenovo, whatever, and Windows, right? So I could like use both platforms and it was fine, but it's been a couple years and yeah, I don't know how to use a Windows machine at this point. Although I could probably pick it up a little faster than you could pick up the Mac just because the Mac's weird. Also, I type in Dvorak or Dvorak if you're, you know, if you care about the pronunciation. But yeah, so if someone came up to my computer and tried to type, like all the letters are in the wrong spot, right? So when I try and use a different keyboard, I can't type. I have to like peck it out. I don't know where the keys are, the letters are anymore. And Success Roller Coaster says you're not a student anymore. No, no. Are you a student of mine? Have you ever paid? Have you ever enrolled in the course and or gotten coaching from me or anything like that? So because I can help you, but I can help you if you're a student. But if you're not a student, I don't have the bandwidth to help with that level of like help that you need there. Dennis mentions the best thing about the Mac is you could run a VM or Windows in a VM if you need to, virtual machine. And the biggest gimmick on the phone is the wireless charging. You can't use the phone when it's charging. I don't get the obsession with wireless charging. Good point, Nick. I'm not 100% sure either. Although I gotta say, because I'm using this phone, which is pretty old, the iPhone 6, there's a lot of capabilities out there that I haven't even looked into. I mean, I just use the phone like in a basic way. So all the high tech technical, I mean, I just got wireless like Bluetooth headphones for the gym in the last like year. So I'm definitely catching up. So Dcard says you upgrade your phone every third year. So that's cool. And I'm not sure, I may, I may keep this phone, like the iPhone 10, for a pretty long time, but I guess we'll see how it goes. I did purchase this phone outright versus the Next program, which locks you into the contract and all that stuff. It's the same price, right? Like they prorate it, so it's like within $1 or something like that. But if you're making payments, then you have a lot less flexibility on like selling the phone or penalties and contracts and whatever. So I wanted to avoid all that. So I'm excited to get the new phone here in, I think, a week or so. They don't have any locally. I'm in Bozeman, Montana, so we don't have like an Apple store around here. I think the closest one is in Boise, Idaho, which is hours away. So yep, and I was gonna say, Nick points out buying the phone outright, and then you could resell it later, and that's basically what I've done with all. I've had iPhones since I've the iPhone like 3G, I guess. So I didn't get the very first phone, but I got the next iteration, and I've always like sold the phone. I've used, like I mentioned, I usually upgrade sooner. So if you sell it before the phone is like obsolete, that's usually better. Like my phone is probably like on the edge of like what someone would want to purchase and try and use. And yeah, it's definitely the iPhone 10 is definitely an expensive choice, but I'm excited to get it and take a lot of pictures. And that's that's one of the main reasons I opted for it is, what looks to be great, a front facing phone. You have two lenses on the back, a wide angle and a telephoto, optical image stabilization on the rear cameras. And yeah, I think from what I have observed, it looks like it's a good phone. So, and oh, the other part is, I guess, like the facial recognition. Apparently, it works really well once you get used to it. And I mean, it seems it seems fine. So hopefully it'll just blend into my normal environment and just be easy to use. So, and it'll just become a phone and it won't be a big deal. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it. Okay. And what I can do, right? So, a couple things to note. I haven't mentioned it, but the productivity course is out right now. So, it's for sale. And I know that several people have asked about it. I haven't done a great job pasting the links or posting the links rather in the descriptions. I think for this video, I actually put it in. It is a pilot course. So if you're unfamiliar, that is like the pre-beta. This is a lot of interaction with me. We're going through the material, testing it more or less. Like you'll help shape what the course becomes. Enrollment is open until the end of day tomorrow. So it's already more than half full and I expect it to fill up. And once it does, I will just shut it down and you can't enroll. So if you're lightly interested, you should check it out. If you want more information about it, just let me know. I can give you more details on it. I don't have like a massive sales page. I don't have like tons of info on it. It's mainly for people that like already know me, know the brand, and they're looking to improve their productivity. And again, there's a lot of information about like specifically what you get on the link. So click below if you're interested. And you'll also probably notice that I'm not pushing it as hard as, other people sell courses, or even when I sell Five Figure Niche Site, I'm not, sending as many emails and that sort of thing, pushing it. But you'll probably get a couple tomorrow. And let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's any other things. So a couple cool things coming up, and I'll just mention it here since I didn't have, it doesn't take a long time for me to tell you I'm getting a new phone. So a couple fun things coming up. Rob and I are doing a series of videos. So Rob Atkinson, one of my good friends, he was a business partner on a site that I sold in Project Go White Hat. So we were a team on that. Rob sort of invited me in to work on the team, and we sold that site. Great experience. So Rob and I are like talking about location independent like work, and we're also talking about like working in Chiang Mai, leaving your corporate job. And the first video that will be coming out. I think I may be able to get it out in the next few days, whatever my editor can get to me. We talk about Cyber Monday and sort of like what Rob has been up to. So that's cool. And I'm excited to do more. And I wanted to, let you know that those are coming out soon. And I'll be interested to hear if you want to like see more of that. Right. So I'll mention it in the videos as well, but that should be pretty awesome. Additionally, I interview Rob's wife, Thais, right? So Rob's wife has a travel blog, a pretty big Instagram following. And yeah, so I talked to her because she's living the life as well and traveling and, making money online, something people are often interested in. So I interview her and that'll be coming out soon as well. So again, I'm just interviewing more and more people as we go. And then Iris says, "Do I have a niche site that sells phones or other electronics or accessories?" No, sure don't. Sure don't. So those are a few of the things coming up, and I'll give another plug. If you're on the email list, you probably saw that I was on a podcast called Motivated Life, and if you are watching this, you probably saw the interview with Ravi. So that's Ravi's podcast, just launched this week. If you're interested in hearing like a slightly different angle of my story, you should check out that podcast. Really good interview, I think. Ravi's a good guy. I think the podcast is going to do. I think it's going to do pretty well as it gets more people on. I was the second interview that he did, but his story is really interesting. So if you haven't heard that, there's a video on the channel. If you just look back a couple days, you'll see that video as well. I interview Ravi, and we talk about his story. So, and Anthony says, "What does Rob's wife do exactly?" So she'd be better to answer that. So, number one, like she does have the blog and the Instagram following, so she's able to like get sponsors in some capacity. I'm not 100% sure how that works on her end. I actually did go into great depth in that sort of area, but so she has a big enough Instagram following where she can get sponsored, like sponsorships in general. Her I think her blog is starting to get more traffic. And again, she's probably making some money from there. And she also helps Rob some, at least on some capacity. And this is new. She's actually helping me with some email support as well because she has like a unique set of skills that are really like helpful for me. So I don't want to give away too much like from the interview, but she used to work in the hospitality industry in like hotel management. So she has like really good customer service skills, and that's something that I need help with. So she's working with me some as well, just as a freelance thing. And Iris says travel blogs are very competitive and you're looking forward to checking that out. Awesome, Iris. That's good to hear. And yes, it is competitive. Or I guess she's been working on it for like 3 years or so. So, like everything, it's taken like a long time to get to a point where there's like good traffic and stuff. And Anthony says, "Am I location dependent when it comes to making videos?" Not necessarily. Like I have a pretty lean setup for like being able to travel. So when I went down to Atlanta, Georgia to visit family and stuff, I brought my camera. It's fairly light and I shot some videos down there, which I also need to go through and get over to my editor, but there are some videos there. And then, tying it full circle, right? Another reason why I got the iPhone is like I feel very, very capable of shooting like video on that phone where it'll be like high quality where I could publish it. So I don't think I'm location dependent when it comes to making videos at all. I mean, this is starting to come out through the interviews a little bit more. And it's people like to be location independent, but when you really got to get work done, like you kind of have to have like a workspace, a proper workspace. It doesn't mean you can't find one of those on the road or anything like that, but it's usually easier to pull that together if you're, say, renting an apartment for 6 months and like you have the ability to live there and be in a different location. For example, like my wife and I were able to travel some before, like we were laid off, and it was awesome because we were able to, say, rent a house in Denver or Austin, or visit family in Indiana for like a month. So we had like a proper place to work, and we were able to. So I like to live like the locals, right? I want to go to the grocery store. I want to eat at the, not like the normal chain restaurants. I want to eat like where the locals do. And depending on where you live, that's easier or harder. But, as far as like going to the grocery store and like cooking and like filling the refrigerator, like for whatever reason, that is a therapeutic like activity for me to do. I don't mind it. I don't want to go to the grocery store when it's super crowded, but with a flexible schedule, you can go to the store when there aren't too many people there. So, and Anthony says, recording is easy, editing takes the longest. Where do I find my video editor and how do you send them the large files? So I agree 100%. The editing does take a long time. And as you get better at recording the videos, the editing becomes a lot easier. So as I'm shooting more and more videos, I'm getting very slightly incrementally better. I'm trying to get rid of my verbal tics as well. Those are a pain in the ass. The thing is, the video editor is from Upwork. So I tested a few. There are tons of options. So I use Upwork just because it's such a big marketplace and easy to find freelancers with a variety of skills. So I tested, I think, 3 video editors, sent them different videos, and they edited them based on, my very loose. And the thing is, I didn't know exactly what I needed. I knew that I didn't want to have to give them too many instructions, right? So I typically just send them the files, and I'll mention that in a second. I send them the files, and then they edit it, and then we have like a little system where they place the files in a folder that I want them to, and then I know it's done. So it's actually a pretty simple system, and it works really well. Now, as far as uploading the video, so a year ago, I would have had serious issues doing this. So the high speed options here in Bozeman are a little limited. So I think we have Charter and some other company. The thing is, you can get really fast download speeds, like whatever, like 75 megabytes a second or 150 or something like that. Like you can get really fast download, but uploads are like 3 megabytes a second. In fact, it's like faster on my LTE connection on my phone than it is, again, tying back to the phone, than it is to like use the broadband from Charter. Right. So think about that for a second. And even when I was like trying to figure out like options or whatever, like they had none, right? Like I can't, they didn't, they didn't even have business level options for me that I could get. And if I think maybe if I went to like a much higher level, it's going to cost like $300-400 a month, something insane, right? Something not comparable for what you're getting. However, there's a company called Montana Opticom, and they are like a pretty small company, but they have fiber, right? They'll run fiber to your house. So earlier this summer, got fiber to the house. It took a little while to like install. They had to like run cable and like run the fiber and do some install. Like it took a while to have everything done, but it's fast. So I get 75 up and 75 down. So it was only when that happened, Anthony, when I got fiber to the house, that I could upload a video in a reasonable amount of time. Before that, I didn't know what to do. I had a local editor here that was a friend, and he would pick up like the SD card and put it on his machine, and then he would edit it for me. So that, like, high speed is what enabled it. Now, high speed was around. It's just it wasn't like available to residential zones in a like large fashion or a widespread like fashion, right? And then Anthony, I pay them per hour. They do the cutting and pasting. They put in music. All like if you go watch videos from like 3 months ago and then watch videos from like last week, and you'll see like a dramatic improvement in everything, like video quality, right? So because I wasn't editing, I could spend a little bit more time on video and making sure that I'm like setting things up properly. I have a light kit right next to me right now. I'm in front of a big window, but I also have the light kit on, really helpful. So like all of the other things I'm able to spend more time on because I'm not worrying about the video anymore. All right. A couple other questions here. And Anthony, I was going to say, I mean, it's just fantastic to have an editor, and she's in the Ukraine. She has a YouTube channel. I don't speak Ukrainian, but I checked out her channel before I did the test, and I was like, you know what? And it's like a comedy channel, and sort of funny. I don't know what she was saying, but I was like, she's cutting the videos well. She's funny, and I don't even know what she's talking about. So like, it works out really well, and she does a great job. Really economical too. I would definitely look at Eastern Europe and just other locations. Look offshore. It's probably worthwhile. Iris says, "What am I adding to my projects in 2018 when I have a long list of equally interesting and profitable niches? How do you choose just one?" So one of my main focuses, I'm actually like removing projects, right? Like my goal is to remove projects for 2018. That'll probably be the best move I can make. And as far as like picking a long list of equally interesting and profitable niches, how do you choose just one? You just have to pick one, right? You just have to pick one. If you're in the course, there's like a whole like set of exercises we do to help you narrow it down. The course being the 5-figure niche site course, and basically you just have to pick one. So there is no actual real shortcut on that. And you may have you may pick the wrong choice, but hopefully you'll learn something along the way. And Dennis is doing something exciting. You're upgrading your home office to 150 on Monday with an option to go up to 250 and 250. That's fantastic. And I mean, it's just so much if you're used to like anything else, like uploading these HD videos is ridiculous. I mean, it's so much faster. I think technically I can upgrade. I'm not sure how fast I can get it up to, but here's the deal. I get 75 up, 75 down, and it's only $50 a month. So like wrap your head around that. It's like so much cheaper than what we were paying for charter. I think I was paying charter like 75 bucks, 70, $75 a month after like the promo deal ran out. And then it's just an inferior service. Like they actually came around door to door the other day, and it was a nice sales guy. So I talked to him for a minute and I was like, "Hey, I need like good uploads speed. So you guys don't have it, right?" He said, "Nope, we don't have anything like that." And I'm like, "I'm paying $50 a month for a superior service, and you guys have nothing to offer." I'm like, I'm definitely interested in good services. I'm not like against charter on a personal level if they can, deliver the commodity for me of high speed internet, but you know, it's it's a no brainer. And let's see. So Anthony, um, do you have to wait when you shoot elsewhere when you're not at home? Yeah, basically. So I like when I traveled to Georgia and shot video, I have like a 64 gig SD card. They're like 20, $30. They're not very expensive. So I bought a couple extras, and I don't even think I filled up half of it, but I could have uploaded it if I had like a super fast high speed connection. I was staying with my parents. They didn't have such a connection, but in Atlanta, Georgia, there's like plenty of fast internet connections. So I could have uploaded it, but I just didn't worry about it. And I'm going to do it here and then probably today or tomorrow, actually. I use a Mac, and for me, I used for the video tutorials, I was using, or I do use ScreenFlow. You can actually use, I think probably on a PC and a Mac, there are free options to record your screen. ScreenFlow just happens to be a little bit easier, and I would edit videos in ScreenFlow too. It actually does a pretty decent job editing as well. And Nick says, do you ever advise someone against a niche, but because I already have one in it, how do I deal with a conflict of interest? This is a common question, Nick. A couple of people were really asking around that idea um, before they enrolled in the course. So, no, I don't advise people against it because I have a site in it. Usually, I just give them like pure advice, right? Totally agnostic of like what sites I have or don't have. The thing is, um, so Georgie's sitting right next to me. The UPS truck just pulled up. This is going to be a test to see if she barks. Yep. Hey, Georgie, everything's cool. It's the new dog here, Georgie. So she's a little skittish, still getting used to things. So anyway, for whatever reason, it's not hard for me to deal with any sort of conflict of interest. The other part is within my network of like my peers, like we have sites in so many niches, like it's almost impossible to find one where I don't know someone with a site in it. So I just give the best advice that I can based on the information that the person's bringing, and usually it's not too hard. Additionally, using the keyword golden ratio, it's usually like it's usually possible to find like a set of keywords or a pocket within a niche where there's room to play. Plus, there's always new products being developed. So there's usually always space as long as you're in it for the long haul. Anthony says, when it comes to being location independent, how do I get over weak or low Wi-Fi speeds? Do you have your own mobile hotspot? So currently, I'm not traveling like I used to, right? So my wife and I sort of settled down here in Bozeman. However, you have a couple options, and there are going to be a couple like more interviews with people who are like actively like location independent. Typically, you will have to hunt around. You'll have to find like a coffee shop that has like good enough high speed or a co-working space. So for me here in Bozeman, when I first got here, I checked out a co-working space, and they actually had only slightly better internet connectivity than what I had at my house, right? So they basically had higher capacity, but or sorry, higher maybe like bandwidth capability, but like I still couldn't upload faster. So I could download pretty fast, like whatever 60 or 70, but I still couldn't upload faster than like 6 megabytes a second, which again, uploading HD is not going to work well. So how do you deal with it? You just have to like find the best coffee shop, find the co-working space that you could work at. Or, if you're actually in more remote locations, like you may not have an option. So if you're overseas, I think in talking to a few people, I think like Bali has kind of poor internet. So, and there's not much you can do about it. It's like a little bit slow, and I think it's a little bit unreliable. So you may have trouble there. As far as a mobile hotspot, I used to have a mobile hotspot back in the day, And this was when my wife and I were doing a lot of like cross country travel. It was, and we would actually like drive in the car and I would like work in the car. And you could imagine the connectivity was a little spotty. It would go up and go down as you transfer from cell to cell. However, it's usually good enough for chat and it's usually good enough for email and like light editing, right? So if I was, using like workflowy or a different app, like a web-based app, it would be able to upload and sync properly. It wouldn't be an issue there. Obviously, I mean, I think even with an LTE like speed that we can get nowadays, like driving across the US, the problem is once you get outside of a big city, the connectivity goes down quite a bit. And again, just moving from cell to cell as you're driving, 90 miles an hour, it's not going to be great. So you end up with a few issues like that. But, again, if you're just chatting like I was a lot of times, or if you're just doing light editing or email, it's not a huge deal. And Blue Fuse, what's up? So you try the keyword golden ratio and you got a post on the first page overnight, position 6. Awesome. That's really impressive and good work. Congratulations. Let me know when you get your first sale. All right. Any other questions? Good questions, like on topic, like generally kind of on topic, not iPhone questions, but connectivity and that sort of thing. It's all related. Like I said, I know the iPhone 10 it's expensive and it's a little indulgent, but like I mentioned, I mean, this phone, I've had it for 30 months and then I think it was 6 months old. I mean, I've put in my time. I haven't like bought any new toys in a while, I'm a tech geek. I like electronics and I like getting new stuff and it's been a very very long time since I've gotten any cool new toys. So, a little excited to get it and sort of like a you know, little Christmas present to myself. And yeah, Blueview says the first sale will be momentous. You might have to celebrate by getting an iPhone 10. Yeah, that'll be awesome. All right. Any other questions before we get out of here? And see, we got like 15 people on, so a few more people hopped on. Here's the thing today is Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. I kind of talk about a topic on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Going to try and be more consistent here coming up. On Friday, there is just a general Q&A. So if you have questions, I keep forgetting, but I'm actually going to go ahead and schedule the Q&A right away. So I'm not sure if you have the ability to like ask questions in the comments, but like if you have questions, let me know what they are. Like it'll be, great to have those questions sort of like in the pipeline for the Q&A on Friday. So 10 a.m. general Q&A. So if you have questions about like, Amazon affiliate stuff, internet marketing, or whatever, then you could ask them at that point. And Matt is asking a question. I'll just answer it here. Is it a big disadvantage to be outside the US if the site is aimed at that audience in the US? No, actually, a lot of my friends, I mean, I guess there are other sort of follow-up questions, but just in a general sense, I have a lot of friends who have, they're in the UK, they're outside the US, they travel or whatever, and there's no impact, right? They could create a site targeting the US and it is fine. I generally recommend people do target the US because of the larger search volumes, bigger opportunity for traffic and profits and that sort of thing. So, all right, cool. Thanks everyone for hopping on today and I appreciate it. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great day.